So during this pandemic, when there's nothing to do and no place to go, so people are staying home and streaming movies online, Michael Moore decided to release yet another documentary, this time exposing climate change and the need for getting it under control. Only the people of the Green New Deal hate it. They're coming after him. Greta Thunberg is having nightmares. What could the Moore have possibly said in his latest movie, Planet of the Humans?
Security police.
I'm in charge of this man.
No longer, madam. He is now in the custody of the Ministry of Science.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
Michael Moore, a guy who himself consumes more food than most small third world countries, when he starts lecturing us on capitalism and consumption, it really aggravates me. I really hate being lectured to by people who themselves are oh so guilty of the very crimes, the very issues that they want to point out on others. Take capitalism, for example. Michael Moore insists that the problem in America right now is more. We got to have more because that's the way Wall Street has wired all of us. That every company, no matter how well you did this year, it's never good enough to be that good again next year. You got to do more. You got to sell more. You got to buy more. You got to have more. More. Okay? Michael, apply that philosophy of, hey, you know what? Enough is enough. You don't have to have more. Think about that when the buffet in your town reopens. Think about that when I'm sure you don't give your movies away. I'm sure you don't say, you know what, I have enough. Look, I'm a multimillionaire. I live well. I don't need to be paid for this one. You know what? In fact, I'm rejecting a paycheck. I'm rejecting royalties. I'm not even going to copyright this. If other people want to show this, exhibit this, if they can make money off it, if it helps them, I'm okay with that. Yeah, that ain't happening, not on any level. So Michael Moore is a capitalist. And then for him to say that he is green energy, he is wanting to save the planet. But this documentary, what is it that's got people from the Green New Deal so incensed? Well, actually, Michael had some facts in here that in order to convert us over to so-called renewable energy, it's an illusion. It's a pipe dream. And it will actually cost more than just to stay with fossil fuel. For example, the components to make, say, a windmill, the components to, say, make a solar panel, the components to make batteries, they're all minerals, metals. They have to be mined. Aren't we always hearing from the AOCs and the Green New Deal people? Miners, we're going to put you out of business. No more coal. You coal miners are going to have to go back to school and learn a trade to do something else because there'll be no more coal. Yet coal is what makes solar panels. You've got to have precious metals to make batteries. And by the way, once you've got these battery cars, how do you actually recharge them? Oh, they got to be connected to the power grid. What is it that fuels the power grid? Nuclear energy? Coal? So the fact that Michael Moore pointed this out has got the libs and the environmentalists, it has got them over the edge. So here's a few selected clips for you.
Now, to do their part for the new green economy, General Motors introduced a new line of electric vehicles. When the Chevy Volt was ready for release, I attended their press conference.
So these electric vehicles are ready for public consumption, and we're ready with the infrastructure, with the rates, with the communications.
I am extremely grateful to be here today, and in fact this is a chance for me to say thank you more formally. The Chevy Volt is upstairs. We'll be able to take a look at it.
We got about 1,000 photos.
Yeah.
Is it plugged?
It's as simple as that.
The batteries are in the trunk?
No, the battery in this particular design is a T shape right down the center and across the back seat area. Because everybody thought we killed the electric vehicle. No, we didn't. It's alive and well.
So what's charging the batteries right now? What's the source of
Well,
electricity?
here, it's coming from the building.
I mean, is it, what's our mix of power?
Oh, actually, Lansing feeds the building.
What's that?
Lansing feeds power to the building. So I don't know.
They're,
I bet you they're a bit of coal. They're heavy on natural gas, aren't they?
right now the car's charging off of your grid.
Right. It would be charging off our grid, which is about 95% coal.
How long do you think it'll be before there's a solar and wind powered grid?
Oh, golly.
To suggest that all of the power used for these cars will be generated from wind and solar in the very near future would not be correct. In fact, we're talking about charging these up at night, so there won't be any solar at that time. So we're down to wind, and very often at night the wind does fall off. So
I don't think coal is bad. The what?
Big battle. Mountain top removal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's got lovely BTUs. It's got lovely
Very
energy
dense, isn't it?
value.
Yeah.
How do you burn it more cleanly? I mean, do you see natural gas getting bashed?
we will be delivering power based on natural gas very shortly. And even with that mix, we intend to use biofuels if we can.
You got any
Oh,
support?
the environmental groups are extremely supportive.
We did install the state's largest solar array at my company, the Board of Water and Light. It's just down the street from here, a few miles, if you want to take a look at it. What outfit are you with?
New World Media, we're doing a segment on the renewable energy.
Oh, excuse me, I gotta go for a
sorry.
second, but thanks.
I decided to take him up on his offer to check out their football field-sized solar array right down the street.
As you can see, Jeff Gibbs did go down the street to say, you see that impressive array of solar power. And guess just how little good it did.
How many homes would this array provide electricity for?
We can meet the energy requirements for 10 homes over a year.
10 homes. That's pretty good, isn't it? But we're told that solar still is very green, right? I mean, free light from the sun. I mean, really, that's how much greener can you get? But here is what Planet of the Humans actually found.
Ozzie Zenner, a visiting scholar at UC Berkeley and Northwestern University, was asking some of the same questions.
I mean, I thought that solar and wind were probably very good solutions. I mean, it wasn't really even that long ago. One of the most dangerous things right now is the illusion that alternative technologies like wind and solar are somehow different from fossil fuels. Well, I hear a lot of times that solar cells are made out of sand.
Have you ever thought about solar panels? The main ingredient that makes them work is silicon or sand.
This is the raw material chips are made of, sand.
They don't use sand at all. So they use, I'll show you what they... So this is one of the ingredients. It's actually mined quartz.
Spruce Pine, North Carolina, regarded as the finest source of high-purity quartz in the world for semiconductor, solar, and communication applications.
But you can't use sand because sand has too many impurities. So you start with a very high-quality quartz and a very high-quality coal. And then you put those two together into an arc furnace and you melt them.
The quartz is then melted with coal in a large furnace at temperatures of up to 1,800 degrees.
So you need more coal to do that. So I get another coal out. That's when we melt these together, we get silicon metal and carbon dioxide. And the carbon dioxide just goes off and you got rid of the carbon, you're left with silicon metal. This is not clean coal.
Not clean coal. Ozzie Zenner said it was an illusion that renewables were replacing coal or any fossil fuel. Environmental groups continued telling a different story.
We've already seen more than 25% of the U.S. coal fleet has already either retired or is on a schedule to retire.
Coal plants were closing, but Ozzie explained that well-meaning people were being misled.
NV Energy is now going to go ahead and shut down the plant and go with renewable. One of the largest solar plants, and that's going to happen right behind me.
Since you can't replace a coal plant with solar, they're actually replacing the coal plant with 2 natural gas plants. And natural gas is a fossil fuel. This is the Las Vegas cogen natural gas plant. This is one of the facilities that's replacing the coal plant that's being shut down.
Wow. So a solar farm, which is the size of 2 small football fields, they generate enough juice to power 10 homes. If you're having a hard time kind of in your mind trying to visualize what that would look like, let me just encourage you, especially if you're on home quarantine. So far, you can, even in states like Michigan, actually get in your car and drive around. Just don't stop and don't get out. You better have a mask and you better have a hazmat suit. Go for a ride. Drive past your local high school. Drive by the football field. Now imagine that football field, about double in size, filled with solar panels. And you might be able, depending on the size of your town, to light up the houses on half of one side of one street. Think about that. The Green New Deal. What a raw deal it is. And Michael Moore simply points that out. But what he gets into in this movie is the only way to really save the planet. And first of all, let's just pause right there. You have to buy into the illusion that the planet is dying and that we're killing it and it can't sustain itself and it can't sustain us. That is the whole premise of the environmentalist movement. So, what comes into play? Well, we've done more to reduce greenhouse gas emissions just in the 30 days of the quarantine. That becomes Michael Moore's premise in having to give interviews to defend his movie. Because the movie's ultimate conclusion is we don't need pipe dreams and fantasies to deal with climate change. To save the planet, we have to reduce human population. Now do you understand why all these people are so pro-abortion? Now do you understand why Bill Gates, aside from trying to make money on a biochip and a vaccine, you do understand something about the history of Bill Gates and his family. His parents were really into eugenics. You know, thinning out the herd, thinning out the population. So you would think that Bill Gates, wanting population control, Michael Moore wanting population control. Hey, then isn't this pandemic, if it's all they claim that it is, isn't this the Darwinist, evolutionist, ultimate wet dream fantasy? It's the survival of the fittest, gonna thin the herd out. I mean, you would think they wouldn't be fighting this so hard. But it's about control. Of course, it's about money. And in the end, they want to thin out the population of only retaining the right thinking kind of people. This just gets more twisted the more we dig into it and find out what these sickos are really all about. That said, you got some time to kill and you can keep, a straight perspective on it. I'm telling you, Michael Moore's documentary, this is the guy that brought me Roger and Me, Columbine, and, Sicko, and a host of other mockumentaries that he thinks are factually based. Michael Moore, his newest rendition, which actually, I don't even think he's not really the maker. He just put his name onto it for the paycheck. He's an executive producer. The movie is called Saving the Planet. Or Planet of the Humans, or find it. It's on YouTube, and I'm telling you, it's Michael Moore at his best and worst. And the fact that it's got libloons literally creating a circular firing range, these people are in full-blown implosion mode. And in this quarantine, they're going nuts. Absolutely nuts. And it's fun to kick back and just watch. That's it for this rant. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, make sure that you share this on your social media platforms. Help it spread faster than a virus out of control. And we don't need a Fauci vaccine to stop it either. Hey, give us a thumbs up and a big like. Make sure you've smacked the bell and click the word all to get notifications of my next rant.